Gentlemen, today we ain't doing power scaling, no. Welcome to the brand new series for this channel, Team Scaling. The series where I pick a specific concept, theme or trope and I analyze how different franchises and mediums handle it in their own different ways. From the worst to the best, east versus west, maybe 2, maybe 3, but if you like and subscribe either way, that works for me. In today's episode, animalistic abominations. Ever since Godzilla 2014 made me fall in love with the character, my appreciation going from wow, big monsters are fucking awesome to wow, he's an allegory for the horrors of nuclear warfare, that's why his skin looks so burnt, oh my god, I started watching other iterations of the character. My first time ever watching a Godzilla film was, regrettably, 98 one, in which is infamously made more akin to an animal than a god, but later on we got iterations that tap into the inherent otherworldliness of the character so deeply that you generally start to wonder if either Mother Nature or mankind are responsible for bringing this thing into existence. The trope Eldritch Abomination refers to a creature or more so an entity beyond human comprehension, a being whose mere existence challenges our understanding of reality. They're usually either described or depicted in abstract and enigmatic ways. Hell, sometimes the true form is something so crazy that the human mind can't witness it without going insane, period. H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu is basically the go-to example when it comes to this trope, but I believe an even better candidate in the modern era is the entity from Dead by Daylight. An otherworldly being whose closest thing to a physical form is a mysterious fog with spider-like tree branches for limbs, who feeds off both negative and positive emotions, and whose power involves being able to pull people across different places, time periods or universes for a demented game of cat and mouse, all just to quench her hunger. In universe, very few beings are able to threaten the entity in any way that matters. But sometimes abominations take a more familiar form. Take everything I said about the Eldritch ones, but give it a humanoid shape. Sure, they can tear reality just by screaming, have planets in their diet, or transcend space-time just by existing, but at least they're cosplayable. That's a humanoid abomination. But other times again, that dog sure seems off, doesn't he? I'm talking about what's known as an animalistic abomination. Entities that defy our very notions of what an animal can truly be. And the two examples we're looking at today are top candidates for the trope. Starting with... I wholeheartedly despise Disney's attempts to cash in on nostalgia with their live-actions quote reimaginings. The Jungle Book doesn't fall into this trick. It's actually shockingly good in my book. I think they do a really nice job of blending the animated adaptation with the original source material from the book. Chief example of that being In this version, she keeps her hypnosis and villainy from her cartoon counterpart, but also gains her omniscient and ancient nature from the literary one. The result can only be described as the embodiment of uneasiness. I've never been afraid of snakes, then again I never seen one IRL, but there was a time when these two images gave me major heebie-jeebies. The uncomfortable level of detail in the scales, the bridge between the human-like and the animal-like, those jaws, and those goddamn eyes. Ugh. You would think that being voiced by Scarlett Johansson would replace the scariness with ordiness, or at least blend the two. God knows we love when that happens, am I right fellas? But this was not the case. Scarlett over here wasn't a seductress, she was a predator.
Who's out there?
Hi. Are you...
I'm waiting for a friend. He should be here soon.
I can stay with you. Just you and me, sweet thing.
She doesn't get a ton of screen time, not enough to determine the extent of her evil anyway, because again, she does lure Mowgli with a false sense of security to eat him, but she acts very nicely, talks very soothingly, and reveals a piece of information that she had no way of knowing Mowgli was looking for no real reason. Again, at the heart of it all, she just wants a meal, but it's not like she just lunged at a man cub like an animal straight away, no, she had to sprinkle in an eerily human element first, like she's following an alien code of morality that makes sense only to her. Speaking of aliens, she's kinda doing something similar to Pennywise in a way, a predator aiming to eat children while putting on a fake friendly facade, except unlike say Bill Skarsgård iteration, she actually manages to sound like a convincing human being for more than 10 seconds before she starts to drool.
Thanks. See you later. Bye.
shit.
Which prompts the question, how long has she been doing this? How does she know so much about humans? But it's not just the characterization that goes beyond the human comparison, oh no. Even for a female python, female snakes are bigger than males by the way, she is massive. IRL snakes never stop growing throughout their lives, and in the location a scene takes place in, you aren't really 100% sure which parts are the branches, which parts are the vines, and which are the rest of her body. How long is this bitch? I have no idea. Mowgli has no idea. This now deleted VR video gives us a frightening idea. We are under paranoia regardless. All we can hear is her voice, which seemingly comes from both nowhere and everywhere at once. Her eyes can also function as flashback windows somehow. This is never explained or elaborated upon, which adds further to the creepy factor. And after Baloo saves Mowgli from becoming an ex-meal, we never see her again. We don't know if she's still slithering around somewhere, eating her next prey by the movie ends or something. As far as I'm concerned, this is not a snake. I have less trouble believing that a Gigantopithecus somehow survived the modern era than I have believing that this thing came out of an egg. For all we know, this being was created by the forest in a sick attempt to connect the bridge between predatory animal behavior and predatory human behavior, creating such an anomalous entity in the process that you can even tell where its body ends and the forest itself starts. The way she talks about consuming Mowgli, making him part of the forest, on some part of the ship, part of the crew type beat, absolutely fucking not. Seriously, I'm creeping myself out just by writing the script. Next. Next up we have a monster who's frighteningly straightforward. Okay, I got Krypton in my username, so you had to expect a Superman reference. Ever heard of Doomsday? It's a monster specifically designed to kill Superman. Not in-universe, that came much later, but in the sense of the writers creating a character whose sole narrative purpose was to kill a rival so strong that even he couldn't handle. No depth, nuance or humanity. Can't be bargained or reasoned with. Just pure destruction and murder for the sake of destruction and murder. It did get a fleshed out backstory, but that came much later after his debut. Anyway, Doomsday got so famous that he generated a whole trope named after him. Generic Doomsday villain, a trope in which a villain is honestly more akin to a plot device meant to move the story forward than a three-dimensional character. One-track-minded villains can often risk to come across as one-note characters, but when it's done well, my god it works. Just ask Michael Myers from Halloween or Vilgax from Ben 10 Classic, or if you're more of a dog person, ask Garm from God of War Ragnarok. This doggo is quite honestly God of War's Doomsday. He starts out in prison, accidentally gets broken out, starts a rampage of dimension-theory proportions, and you can't really kill him in a traditional way, due to his unnatural physiology. But beneath all that rage, there's a small hint of intelligence ever so slightly, such as the way it weaponizes its own chains, or resorts to long-range ice blasts when strategically advantageous to do so. And in a franchise where the main protagonist, Kratos, usually Soros giant monsters for breakfast, the fact that the motherfucking God of War decides that running away is the better option for both him and Atreus speaks volumes.
Dad, what do we do?
I do not know.
You don't know?
Do not stop. Run!
Like, if Kratos tells you to run away, you will not see me looking back. Garm literally turned two godly heroes into rats for him to chase. In what's honestly a pretty damn great gameplay sequence, as he bursts through the structures and the enemies keep popping up, while you're over there like,
Yo, my life's like a movie, my eyes are like a Uzi jacuzzi. Get the fuck out of the way!
This one scene in particular of Garm snarling and glaring at Kratos specifically, prompting him to just be like, how, is chills inducing. For context, he had just snapped the wolf's neck earlier, and is now back with a vengeance. Hell, just his design alone is simple yet effective. A gargantuan raging wolf whose snow white fur is covered in his blood, and whose cloudy hollow eyes serve as a perfect window to his soulless nature. Now, there are many layers of thematic stuff for why it works as an animalistic abomination. In universe, it basically serves as an embodiment of Atreus' well-intentioned recklessness. He sees a bloody wolf all chained up, and unaware of the monster in front of him, he frees it out of pity. This results in Garm literally unleashing hell in Helheim, tearing holes to the very fabric of reality with his claws, only started because of Odin's mask leading in there, a connection which creepily remains unexplained. In the context of Norse mythology, Garm was a giant wolf destined to fight Tyr, the battle ending with them mutually killing each other. However, with him fulfilling a role of a giant unstoppable wolf sealed away in the depths of Helheim, Garm honestly takes much more after Fenrir, more than anything. The third thematic layer that separates Garm from being just another animal focuses on his diet. According to Mimir, Garm can eat concepts, including a former 5th season and a word that used to describe being so hungry that you aren't hungry anymore. Those things just existed at one point and now they no longer do, because of Garm's metaphysical appetite. There's some Chainsaw Man shit we're talking about here. Garm is portrayed so much as a force of nature that just being freed alone effectively works as a complete killer for all parties involved. Everyone is equally terrified of this thing. Kratos, Freya, Mimir, fucking Odin. A fuck up of non-insignificant proportions indeed. His soulless nature is both his biggest strength and his biggest weakness. On one hand, nothing can kill him because he lacks a soul to kill, so he'll just come back from anything. That alone makes him deeply unnatural even by God of War standards. On the other hand, Garm being a hollow shell of a living being allows for souls to be put inside him, which is exactly what Atreus does, essentially reincarnating his pet Fenrir into Garm's body, turning an animal emblematic of his mistakes into a symbol of his resourcefulness and newfound creativity, in part thanks to the time spent with Angerboda. Fact remains, thank goodness for Atreus' solution here, as it resulted in a very powerful ally. While Car creeped me out due to its uncannily human attempts to get personal, I find Garm terrifying because of, and this might sound like a weird compliment, just how much of a non-character it is. It's basically a vehicle for ideas and themes, an impersonal force of nature with abstract levels of power that leaves even the most powerful beings in the series frightened, regardless of moral alignment. Garm is just above everything entirely. However, both Ka and Garm share this element of ambiguity. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, we don't see or know why they are, just that they are. And despite the brief screen time, man, they leave an impression. But what if I told you how a final not quite animal for today manages to accomplish just that with even less screen time? So, I have arachnophobia. Therefore yes, I saved the best for last. Yay me. The MonsterVerse has no shortage of kaijus with otherworldly vibes, or origins in Ghidorah's case. But in one of his most recent entries, we have Titanium's Abaddon, who has yet to make their debut on a big screen, but did make it into a video game. If you maybe understandably think that survival instinct didn't do 1% justice to their character, the few pages she's got from the MonsterVerse Declassified comic books, which should fully drop around March, most certainly did. Abaddon is a city block sized spider with a skull-like face. They have a much more robust body than the MonsterVerse previous giant enemy spider, Scylla, but her face is what I think the most interesting. It's not really a classic spider face, let's say, as it seems to possess jaws instead of, the thingies, the cacklings, they usually associate with spiders. I personally really like the detail. It fits with the visual language of other MonsterVerse original kaijus being essentially big X but with a little bit of Y sprinkled in. You can kinda see the evolutionary points they all started from, therefore diverting into something much more visibly unique. Speaking of origins, Abaddon is an Hebrew term that stands for doom or destruction, referring in the Bible both as a place of devastation or an angel of the abyss. In the New Testament's book of Revelation, such angel is also described, and I quote, leading a plague of locusts resembling horses with human faces. In cases you needed any more reasons to book a flight straight towards Nopeville, all meanings of this name end up being scarily accurate for this kaiju, for they're described to be an all-knowing, malevolent bringer of destruction, with the heavy implication to be the progenitor of every single arachnid species on the planet, with the power to, potentially, telepathically mind control all of them into attacking humanity. That's it, I'm moving to Mars, thank you everyone. Now, reading information from a file is scary enough, but from the very few pages we see of her comic, she feels like less of an ancient animal and more like a dark demon that crawled her way out of hell, or Hollow Earth in this case, and I mean, Just look at the sheer scale she displays in this page, while hunting down poor ancient humans. I'm not sure if this scale is remotely accurate with accurate size, but I do know that the MonsterVerse scales kaijus up or down depending on the vibes, and my god, it's way too effective here. In the same page we find out she's the source origin for Skull Island's mother Longlegs, which I have mixed feelings on, as I think that place is enough of a biological nightmare to create those monstrosities on its own, but I digress. Interestingly, the comic highlights Alpha Titans not doing much or anything to prevent Abaddon breeding eggs all over the planet. In this time frame, I'm pretty sure Kong wasn't born yet, so the Alpha I would have to be Godzilla, aka Mr. I can literally sense any kaiju anywhere on this planet. If this thing can be undetected by fucking Godzilla, that doesn't help her not just another kaiju allegations in the slightest. Even worse, the comic then implies the possibility of Godzilla being scared and actively avoiding Abaddon entirely. Do you have any idea how fucking out of the system you gotta be for Godzilla to actively avoid you? That's like the same terror when you see Batman being happy or Spider-Man being silent. You know something is wrong here.
Alright, I give up.
How wrong we talking? Here's one of Abaddon's spiders bursting out of a poor pig's head, and here we have one crawling inside a dead woman and puppeteering her corpse from the inside, which, to me at least, heavily implies Abaddon could do the same with dead kaijus. So imagine, say, the bad ending of a video game where Godzilla somehow not only fails to stop Abaddon, but gets his corpse possessed by her spiders as she gains the most powerful puppet against humanity. Hell to the fuck no. Thank God Kong got rid of Abaddon in the survival instinct game, right? Son of a fuck! I'm a sucker for pale white monsters. I don't know, it just works really well for me. And the sheer contrast between Abaddon's pale design coupled with the darkness they're constantly surrounded by is perfectly exemplified by the black and white creepiness of the little scene in the comic. I say I can't wait to know more about Abaddon, but honestly, I'm good really. Just grab the best original MonsterVerse title medal and skedaddle out of it. So, despite coming from different series and mediums, what did today's candidates all have in common when it comes to being animalistic abominations? Well, despite seeming just unnaturally large animals at first, there are several traits within either the design, behavior or abilities that give away their true nature as much more abstract beings. Their very existence is treated like an error, an anomaly by the rest of the settings and or characters, which further alienates them. And the lack of explanations for their unique qualities or origins further adds to the creepy ambiguity factor. Are there any animalistic abominations you think I could have talked about? Are there any characters from different franchises that do the same concept, theme or trope that you'd like to see me cover next? Leave your ideas in the comments, maybe I'll do a video about it, maybe not, one way to find out. I currently have enough ideas for maybe 3-4 more episodes already, but it all depends on your support for this video. Until then, drink lots of water, I'll do the same. Orko Krypton, hoping I made your day slightly better.